as of now, Brady Tkachuk has not signed a contract extension with the Ottawa Senators. Now, the latest report from Elliot Friedman is that the Senators obviously want to sign Tkachuk for 7 or 8 years on a long-term deal, but Brady Tkachuk does not want to sign a long-term deal right now. This dude wants to sign a bridge deal, whether it's 2 or 3 years. Another thing Elliot Friedman mentioned specifically was that the salary cap is expected to go up approximately 3 years from now, where he'll be able to cash in even more. So it's crazy. Like, the season's about to start. Brady Tkachuk, one of the most high-profile RFAs, has yet to sign. So Lepore, man, what's your take on this situation?
People are getting tense here in Ottawa, Bruno. People are getting tense. Here's this kid, came in, impressed right away. Everyone assumes he's going to be named captain when he does sign that deal. So news flash, everyone, the Leafs players aren't the only ones who hold out on their contracts. But it's a tough one because, and maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong for the sake of the sport, I don't see either side budging. I really and truly don't. Like, I mean, I guess it's got to happen eventually. But like you mentioned how, okay, he wants the short-term deal. I could see Ottawa, like, based on the guys they have coming up, Norris is going to have to sign. Stützle is going to have to sign in 2 years. That's opening up a lot of risk for Ottawa, man. If they give him a short-term deal, number one, because they don't want that to become the trend of what guys ask for. They want to put their foot down as an organization and say, this is how we do things. But also cash-wise, it's like if they give him, say, like similar to his brothers, like 3 years at 7.5 or something like that. Let's say they do that. And a lot of people think Josh Norris is a superior player to Brady Tkachuk. So what if Norris lights it up? What if Stützle lights it up? Then what? Like, they're not going to take long-term deals if they saw Brady got this bridge deal. And then there's the other side of the Tkachuk family being the Tkachuk family. Word has it that the Sens offered Shabbat's deal, the 8x8. They're not going to take that. They're not going to take that. So it'd be easy to say, like, hey, we're going to see a compromise of, say, a 5-year deal or something like that. But I don't know, man. Like, if this drags, and again, maybe we'll get the alert like right after the podcast ends that he signed. But if this drags out into the regular season and deeper into the regular season, I wouldn't be surprised. And like, I will say, like, Melnick is involved with this team. Like, whether people want to believe it or not, it's clear that he's a voice that has impact, or like the voice of impact. And I think it's almost to the benefit of Ottawa this time to have that kind of personality, because I can see him being stubborn and like, I'm not giving in. Like, no. And like, the argument I always make is, at the end of the day, the team really and truly has the leverage, and especially in Ottawa's case too, because let's say, like, comparing it to the Nylander situation the Leafs dealt with, the Leafs were like a very competitive team hoping to be a team that could go on a playoff run. That sucks to not have like your star Swedish winger, right? Whereas the Sens, like, even for this year, like, I don't think their expectations are that high. So if you're Ottawa, like, there's no urgency to win now. And how I made the point before, but how the leverage being on the team side, okay, Brady, you want whatever deal you want. Well, if you take a full year off and you don't get paid, you're never going to catch up total wise to what you lost on that deal, like on that 1 year. If it's 6, 7, 8 million, like, you're not getting that back. So I don't know, man. Like, I wish I had an answer of like where I think this is going to go and how I think it's going to end up, but I don't, because like, I don't really see either side budging. And if I'm being perfectly clear, that's a compliment to the Ottawa Senators, saying like they're not going to budge, and their fans should be proud of that, especially with the way this team's rolling with their good young players. And then on the Tkachuk side, I mean, maybe give them credit because they understand the business and they understand their value. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a blast to see what happens. And if he does sign, if they do decide to give him the C, and then how the fans take it, depending on what he signs for, and then the pressure that's going to come with whatever contract he gets. So it's going to be fun. I'm sure we're going to talk about this again, 100%.
Yeah, this is a very, very interesting situation because I don't know if anyone knows how long this is going to drag out because DJ Smith, head coach of the Senators, in another report that I saw recently, he said, listen, the team, we're ready to start the season without Brady Tkachuk, and we're expecting to start the season without Brady Tkachuk. So
Yeah.
who knows how long this is going to last? Clearly, he wants that 8x8 type deal, maybe a shade under that, maybe a shade over that. And, or sorry, the Senators want that. But Kachuk, I mean, he's looking even further down the line. He wants to sign that bridge deal, like you said, Lepore, whether it's, 3 years, 7.5, and then cash in on the next contract, similar to what we just saw with Braden Point. Now, completely different situation. Like Braden Point, much better player, had a Stanley Cup under his belt, a 40-goal season under his belt. Tkachuk is a different player, so I don't think he's going to necessarily cash in the same way, but he wants to go down a similar path. Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting. It seems like the entire Tkachuk family's on the same page here because Matthew Tkachuk is essentially looking to do the exact same thing. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and the Senators, they got some decisions to make because, like you said, Josh Norris on the final year of that, what is it, $925,000 contract. So they're going to have to lock him in. Batherson is locked up now for the next 6 years.
I forgot about him,
6-year, just under $30 million contract. So these are their cornerstones. And then obviously Tim Stützle, who I believe, and I think Lepore, you've echoed the same feelings that he's the star guy.
Yeah,
like he's the guy
you're
building this team around. If you're going to give out like one of those mega deals too. Now, again, we got to see how Tim Stützle plays this season. If he takes the next step, elevates into that tier of like, a holy shit, this guy's going to be one of the stars in the league, which I think he has in him. But it's also going to hurt Tim Stützle if he doesn't have a chance to play with Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see how that plays out. But Lepore, if you were to guess, like, do you think this ends in the Senators just caving in and saying, okay, we'll give you your bridge deal?
If I had to guess, yeah.
I think so too.
If I had to guess, like eventually it's like, oh God, like, yeah. And again, if they do eventually, like, again, they still have him protected. They can still trade him, but I'll say it, man. And I say this as a Leaf fan. I say this as like a Canadian hockey fan. This is such a thing that would happen to a Canadian team. If Brady Tkachuk played for the Boston Bruins, we would not be here right now. If he played for the Tampa Bay Lightning, we would not be here right now. If he played for one of the California teams, we would not be here right now. And I'd love for someone to explain to me why, but like, I just don't see him in that room with the Bruins brass saying it's a bridge deal or nothing. It's like, no, Brady, we're going to have a negotiation. And that's what kind of irks me about some of these athletes now, where I understand you wanting everything. Like, I totally get that. You're entitled to that. You're an employee and you can ask for what you want, but it's a complete disregard of a negotiation now. Like, it's just these players trying to hold the teams hostage. And that sucks. Like even now, like, and like, I'm totally old school. The fact that this has gotten this far, you're not captain. No way. No way what you're putting this organization through, having to go through a training camp without one of their most important players. I don't care what deal you get. You could sign 8 years or whatever now. You are not getting the captaincy. But I mean, again, call me old school, and that's not going to happen because the team's got to cave and make these little players happy. And
especially a team like the Senators, right?
The Sens too.
Issues attracting star players and keeping star players.
Yeah. And that's where I think pressure could fall on the organization, just because like the reputation they have with like guys leaving. And again, it's not a big market. They don't get like free agents running here, but it's tough, man. Like, it's kind of like, I feel bad for the Sens.
It's crazy. Think about it. It's like the Senators are saying, here, Brady, we want to give you an 8-year deal for $64 million. Like, please sign right now. And he's like, nope, I want to sign a bridge deal because I'm going to come back to the table in 3 years and I'm going to ask you guys for $10 million or something wild.
This is where you'd love to be a fly on the wall. It's like, okay, so if he turned down 8x8, I mean, everything has a number. Okay. So then, okay, Brady, you turned down 8x8. And I'm sure this discussion's been had. What would you want on an 8-year deal? Like, what's he going to say? I want 10 million. Like, that's where
He
like
doesn't deserve that.
that's what I'm like. That's now we're getting ridiculous. Like compared to other deals in the league. Like now you're one of the top paid forwards in the league. That's what Jack Eichel makes. Like Brady, you're Jack Eichel. Like, and that's where it's so ridiculous to me. And there's no negotiation. There's no compromise. There's no view of like the team and the success. It's frustrating, man. It sucks for fans to have to go through this. A good buddy of mine who's a huge Sens fan is just waiting to get a Brady Tkachuk jersey with a C on it. But he's obviously, of course, not going to pull the trigger until it happens. And yeah, it's just, it sucks, man. Like I do feel bad for the Sens and their fans to have to go through this, because here's this guy, people love him. He's a likable guy. He says the right thing. He's polite, unlike his brother who likes to shoot his mouth off. And I can appreciate it. I like his brother as a player and as a person for that matter. But it's just, it sucks, man. It puts fans through the gutter, and it puts fans at each other, and anything that makes fans pick a side, like whether you're the team or the player, like that sucks. They're supposed to be one. Like,
yeah, it's a brutal situation. And listen, like I get it. Like Brady Tkachuk brings a lot to the table. This guy's, hitting people through the glass. He's one of the leaders in shots on goal and hits every season. He does all the little things. He gets under the opponent's skin. He's tough. He's physical. He's gritty. He can score. But earth to Brady Tkachuk, it's not like he's come into the league and he's, a point per game player or a 30 goal scorer. 22 goals, 21 goals, 17 goals, has never had more than 45 points in his first 3 seasons. And I know last year was only a 56 game season, but it's not like this guy is coming out here and, lighting the league on fire. Like, let's say, name anyone, Austin Matthews or even Jack Eichel, who's essentially been a point a game player, right? So it's like,
I'll put it this way. We saw what Pettersson got. Ask the 32 GMs in the league if they could have Tkachuk or Pettersson.
Oh, they're all saying Pettersson.
They're all saying you're getting a number 1 center. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, so that's why I just find that it is getting to the point now where I could see Sens fans maybe starting to turn on him a little bit as
I hope so.
As he is. Like the longer this goes and the dirtier this gets, this negotiation, you're going to see fans start to turn on him a bit. Maybe not in the same way that Leaf fans were, ready to send Nylander out of town.
I think he's still paying the price for that in the media, like that little thing in us of dislike. But I mean, I love Willie.
Yeah, but we'll see how this plays out. It's going to be one of the most interesting storylines to track heading into the season. And maybe, like I said, we could be a week in, a month in, and maybe he still isn't signed. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on this. And I'm sure the entire hockey world is going to be watching this as well.